day I have a brand new glow, for I am energy.
So we have this beautiful, hello there, that's you, right? We have this ethereal spine called the Sushumna that goes directly all the way up. And then when you get to the middle of the brain where the third eye is, it sort of like ignites it, like almost like you were turning on a gas stove. It sort of ignites the third eye. There's like in the middle of the brain, this was my experience when it first came up that far, the middle of the brain, and I would see inside. Sometimes I would, as I was getting more experienced, doing my meditation for hours longer than usual, I started having these experiences of actually seeing my brain, what was inside my brain. And right in the middle of the brain, I saw this like light. I was watching like electrical currents, blue, gold, I don't know what they were, coming down into my brain like little charges. And then I saw it hitting there, and then this blue light sort of shot out. Because what I was originally doing was, when I was meditating on my third eye, I would close my eyes and focus on a little dot of light that I saw. But it kept moving, and it was really challenging to do that. So then, once I had that one experience where I got a flash of light, I started visualizing the light coming from the middle of my brain like a fine blue flame. And that helped me have more and more flashes. It helped me stop my thought. But we'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, eventually one day, what happens is the sky opens up and you're just immersed in light. And that's when the crown chakra explodes. So with the Sushumna, it actually works along the physical spine as well. You end up traveling up that and seeing lots and lots of different things in your body. It's fascinating. Anyway, everybody is born with this blood of God, I call it. The blood of God. We're all gifted. We are all gifted with this human body, this organic human body, and we get to ride it for a few years until we can wake up, God willing, in one life. But you can't, obviously. And so there's many, many different ways for this Kundalini to rise up. Now, my teacher, whose name was actually is Kundalini, taught us chakra meditation, but I also was doing silent meditation and Kriya Yoga meditation as well to bring the Sushumna up. Just things from past lives that I would start remembering, or a book I'd find. But it's combining a lot of the different meditation practices that works best for you. Like going into the silence and just being that, like Soham, I am that, I am. And releasing duality so that there's no I am left until there's just you. Ramana's teaching, I've been reading his books since I was in my 20s. Well, not his books, he didn't actually ever write a book, but people would scribe down what he wrote. Bhagavan Ramana, amazing, beautiful enlightened being. If you've ever seen a photograph of him, I highly recommend you get one from the internet, because you just melt. It's just pure bhakti, pure love, pure, pure, pure love. And anyway, so many different forms of meditation practice, many, many different methods. But I'm just going to talk about what actually happens when the Kundalini awakens. So it's like tiny little bubbles. This is what I actually saw inside. And when you're in that state, you're not thinking, you're just having the experience. You're bearing witness until eventually you become that. So I was bearing witness at that stage to these tiny little bubbles, just absolutely smaller than an atom, I'm sure, just because they're in a different dimension, because you're actually in a different dimension. This isn't real, but it feels real. But anyway, so once you're in that different dimension, you get to see lots of different things. You get to see truth, see what's really going on. These little bubbles of, like, I can't really describe them as gold per se, but clear gold. Anyway, it's very, very hard to explain it. Almost like little clear eggs, but see-through. vibrating, and that's the Shakti. Kundalini, Shakti. Shakti's everywhere on this planet. But your own Shakti, your own Kundalini is what you want to have come up the Sushumna, because it's got to scrub clean. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, she talked about it scrubbing us clean. And it really is. It's vibration. It's vibrating molecules. Everything is cells in this universe. It's all cells of energy, different types of cells. And that's the same with the eternal. These different cells of energy that have to clear up the Sushumna because it's clogged with, you can call it gunk, but what it is, it's just clogged with emotion and different things that are very hard to put into words, but it's not clear. And it needs to be clear for the chakras that are actually along the spine, but you can feel them throughout the whole body when you start having a lot of light transmitted to you, especially, and you really begin to practice your meditation and you're really serious about it, especially if you can find yourself being grateful to the divine and loving the divine. It'll be a beautiful journey for you. So it has to scrub them clean so that it can ignite, activate the chakras. Now, some people will talk about focusing on the bottom chakras. I never did. I never ever did. And I was told it was really good to focus on the navel chakra. I just couldn't. It just didn't work for me. Heart chakra for me. It was just like, because my heart chakra, I was blessed that it was already semi-activated. I mean, if you go to someone and they say, oh, your chakras aren't cleared out. You know, of course they're not. Nobody's are until you're really into meditation practice, having light transmitted to you and meditating a lot and being looked after by a qualified teacher who can assist you. Make sure you're safe while you're doing this, because there's a lot of power coming through. And so I kept just focusing here until one day I felt like huge pressure. Exactly. So I'm meditating here, in the middle of the chest, and I felt this huge pressure on my spine, exactly, straight through there on my spine. I was like, oh, that's where the heart chakra is. It's actually on the spine. Of course it is. That makes sense. For the Kundalini to come up and scrub everything clean, I'm going to be feeling it there when it's activated. Because I kept feeling it coming up, the Kundalini, rushes and rushes and rushes. Whoa, bam, bam, bam. You can relate. Hey, a lot of you. And that's what it was. So then I was focusing there, and then it's really, really like you feel like your heart is out of your chest. The love you feel is insane. And you start to feel less and less judgmental about the world. It's an amazing experience. And so then I was still meditating on my third eye, but it was really challenging to meditate on my third eye because of the fact that it would just be here because that was already activated. But I wanted to make sure that the Kundalini could clear the whole Sushumna. So I just made myself really focus, and then I had that experience that I spoke of earlier, where I saw the middle of my brain and then the blue light came out. So then it was semi-activated, and I started feeling it sort of throbbing, moving in and out. You could actually see it moving in and out. And then I would have these other amazing experiences. And the first time I went through the Stargate, I don't know if it was because of I think it's because you absolutely have to have your heart chakra completely activated, and then that completely activated, then you can leave the body and go through the Stargate. That wasn't being completely awake yet, but it kept happening a lot going through. I won't go through all those different experiences. That's more for just the mystical experience family to hear about some of the more personal things. But what happens is once the crown chakra, I never meditated on my crown chakra ever. I was told not to and I didn't. And when it sort of jumps to go into the crown chakra, you don't know if it's jumping all I felt was like this huge rush of light, just the whole body. My body had been shaking a lot for months in meditation, like literally moving the room. I used to call friends and say, was there an earthquake last night in California? Because I know that there's a lot of little tremors. No. And then I started hearing things and seeing different light and just walls moving like they were water, and just amazing things. But this is what happens when the Kundalini's awakened. This is what is for every single person, is for you to be awakened completely until just the whole thing just explodes into light and you're one with it. You're not even bearing witness anymore. Many lifetimes of doing it, sure, but every little bit of effort you put into your meditation practice, you are awakening more and more, because everything's getting cleared out. Like Thomas Troward would say, may there be more of God in me than me. So to answer a question like how do you do it fast, well, there's no fast or slow. The Kundalini is the divine power, and she knows if you're ready or not to handle it. And your body has to become a body of light. You have to be sincere. You have to be truthful with yourself and face your own weaknesses and be of service whenever you can, and love wherever you can. Love, 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 love. Love the divine. You'll begin to start seeing the divine in every single person that you're meeting. You'll just know that that's just God there. And whatever is on the coding of the personality isn't really them. It's love. It's the divine. And you're in love. It's like if you ever read any of Rumi's poetry, they're all love letters to the divine. It's absolutely exquisite. So if you're blessed enough to be born a natural bhakti, a devotional type of person, well then, and it's not about being devotional to a thing, because it's omnipresent. The divine light is omnipresent. It is you. It is you. Look in the mirror and bow to yourself. The divine is not in a spot. It's omnipresent. You are omnipresent. You are floating on this ocean of light. You're not floating on it. You are it, part of it, but you just don't remember. Because there's been too many things that have happened in your life, emotional scarring in so many different ways. Every single person goes through it. So you have to be humble, and that doesn't mean not knowing who you are, but it does mean doing some things that will be, you maybe don't want to do, but you care about other people, so you do them anyway for other people. When you begin to do things for other people, you meditate for other people, because you want, whenever you meditate, you will know more light is going into the world, even if whatever form of meditation or teacher you end up having. But if you have it doesn't matter, as long as you have the intention that your meditation is to bring light to the world. It's not for your awakening, it's for your love of God, because you love that feeling. The feeling is so intense when you're meditating with that love. It's not like an emotion, it's just it takes you over. It's a feeling of such peace and joy, and your enthusiasm for it becomes crazy.